Hey everybody, welcome to Couch for It. It is time, finally, after a 2-week break, to delve into this again. I am Drew Tillman, because I don't know, I didn't have a fun joke for that. Anyway, I'm joined by...
Hey, I'm Volly. I'm at the other end of this giant blue transatlantic couch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
We're finally gonna finish season 1 of
Oh, thank
Sabrina.
God.
And now
Sorry,
it's...
thanks, Satan. Praise Satan.
Pray Satan. Dark teacher, may I go to the dark bathroom?
You,
Oh, I need to find a way to share that to all of our followers. Anyway.
you should call on your dark lunch break, my son.
I don't know. Dark may you? Stop it.
Stop it.
Anyway. Buckle up, because this is going to be a long episode. There's a lot to talk about, and final thoughts are coming.
Yes, absolutely.
So first, Valanda, what are your initial impressions of this episode?
My initial impressions of this episode is that's the finale. That's I wouldn't call it a good finale, but I'm glad it's over. What about you, Drew?
Oh, my thoughts are kind of the similar. Just like, it feels rushed. Like you guys got to episode 10 and went, "Oh, we're supposed to stop now?" That I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, like because the rest of this series has been like bumbling its way towards this finale, and this feels like it will be like episode 2 in like the 3-part finale episodes. Like it feels like they rushed it because they realized they didn't get another episode. Like, oh crap, we left it too late to do the finale. Crap, we haven't tied things up. We haven't made things good. And yeah, it was like, oh crap, it's the old college tribe. Like, I got to get it in before midnight. Don't worry about the spelling. Like, there was just something about it that just wasn't good.
Which we're going to talk about so much at the end. Shall I dive into the first scene, though?
Yes, you may, because I need you all to know that I, in fact, did make Latin translation notes, and then I lost them. The internet ate my homework.
Valanda.
I can tell you it was gold.
Okay, so the final episode of Sabrina opens on a black screen with a clock ticking. And then we see Wardwell sitting in a chair with a glass of something. I assume whiskey, let's be honest.
Probably,
and
yeah.
she says there's time for one more story about Sabrina, implying that this entire series has been her telling stories to somebody. Which, why didn't you use this storytelling mechanic earlier? It feels tacked on. Please stop that.
It feels super rough. Like, sometimes this little storytelling mechanic is interesting when they suddenly throw it in randomly at a point. Like, oh, it's like this episode is based around their perception of what happened, and they're trying to like explain things out of sync that we wouldn't normally know because we're not like just following the main character at this point. But that show hasn't really ever done that before.
No.
And this is not good.
No, it just feels tacked on in an uncomfortable way. It feels like the writer of episode 10 got to do whatever they wanted, and they went, I always liked it when they did this on TV. And they did that, but it was not a good choice.
I think it's so that they can easily explain away the ending.
I think so.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about that ending. We're going to get
we
there.
will. My God, we will.
Because, well, also Wardwell says that all the signs were there if you knew where to look. And then she lists a bunch of omens, like a cat bringing in a dead bird, or a loaf of bread that splits down the middle, or a blind woman knitting her own death shroud.
Or a bottle of ink being spilt.
Yeah.
Like, these are normal things.
No, they're all omens. Don't you know anything about omens, Valanda?
Yeah, like they're like black dogs at night. It's a white cat crossing your path. Like, these, my friends, are omens. Like cows being mutilated in fields, like chickens crowing at the wrong time of night.
No.
Sorry, cockroaches crowing. Like those are omens, my friend.
Cats with dead
blood
birds.
raining from the sky. I mean, come on.
No, it's cat with dead bird, bottle of black ink getting spilled, an old lady knitting in general, apparently, just like...
Yeah. And a loaf splitting down the middle, which I thought was the funniest.
Although, I do want to talk about that, because Hilda, as always, Hilda saves the day in this episode so many times. Like, that actress always perfect. 100% nails just the
Yeah.
everything. Like,
Yes. Both the aunts do, actually. Just like they are spot on. Like just the whole way through.
they really are. But Hilda's like, always got that like, all, like serious, like comedic relief thing. Because like the loaf of bread splitting down the middle, like Hilda opens the oven and looks at it. She's like, oh darn.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Just like so annoyed about it. I love it. But then we cut to Roz talking to her Nana, and she's like, Nana, I think my friend Sabrina is a witch. Do you think she's evil?
And Nana's like, if you look at her, you're probably gonna know. Just like look at her, and then you'll know whether she's good or evil. You'll just know the cunning. You'll just know. You don't need that. Like
She's your friend. She's been your friend for years. You know if she's good or bad, right? And then that conversation gets weirdly cut short because then her Nana's like, the 13 are coming to town and they're gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, they're the witches you ought to be worried about. And we're like, huh?
Yeah. But then,
I mean, to be fair, like the 13 have been mentioned off and on, like as a like there were 13 witches hung here, like X amount. So I'm like that's kind of makes sense, but then we never brought up as a potential threat. So
yeah, it was more like they were brought up as like stuff, like background lore.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no, the 13 are the dangerous witches. But we jumped
like,
to
they could have set this up so much.
They
earlier.
could have, which that's one of my things I want to talk about this whole show.
Nuts.
Yeah. But we jump to the Spellman mortuary where where Zelda's walking into the room and she drops a spoon. And she gets annoyed. And Hilda's like, oh, someone's having a baby. And Zelda's like, what are you talking about? And she says, when a spoon falls, a baby calls.
Yep.
And then Zelda gets irritated by that because keep your old wives' tales to yourself, Hilda, okay?
It's just adorable little like sister flaming each other thing. Like,
it really is.
Cute. It's kind of cute.
And then she asks where Sabrina is, and we find out through a nifty bit of dialogue. It's been a few days since the situation that had happened with Harvey and his brother. And I think it's Ambrose who says that she's still upstairs hiding.
Yeah. Like, props to this tiny little scene because they dump as much information in this one scene as they do in almost the entirety of the rest of most of the episodes.
Mm-hmm. And they handle it well. They do tell us, but they do it in a way that makes sense. It's not just like Hilda looking at the screen. It's like, Sabrina's still sad.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, so Aunt Hilda has made a little balm for her heart. And she's going to go take it up to Sabrina. But Aunt Z's like, nah, I've got this. And takes it from her hand rather, like, really, like, forcefully. And then just, like, marches upstairs to get Sabrina. We're like, oh, no, is she in the doghouse with her? Is something horrible happened? But no. It's niceness. We see, again, the aunt saving this goddamn show.
We really do.
We see Aunt Z talking to Sabrina and being very honest with her about like the fact, things are done fucked up. Things may not be easy, but they'll get better over time. And me and your aunt will be here forever and ever and ever. I'm looking after you and keeping an eye on you. And here as you fall asleep, so you're not alone. Oh. And it's just like, it was such a sweet moment. It's like, it's that mothering instinct that we've kind of seen and not seen come up. And the fact that we had that end of the last episode where like she just like is clearly annoyed, but sees like basically the daughter of her heart breaking down and just going, okay, I need to put that aside. We're seeing this again, and it's so sweet and it's amazing. And this scene is just good. And she doesn't lie to her. She doesn't like patronize her or anything like that. She's just honest, and it's so good.
That actually is one of my favorite things because Sabrina asks, "How do you do it?" Yeah. And Zelda gives her probably the best practical advice anyone who's facing a terrible thing, like the loss of somebody or anything, is that you go and you do your thing, you just live your life, and then you do it the next day, and it will hurt a little bit less. And you just keep doing that, and it will hurt a little bit less every day.
It's like, how do you do that? It's like as bravely and as humbly as you can.
Oh,
they could cut this one scene and just present it to us. I'd be like, this is the episode. This is what we need.
It's such real, solid, actual advice.
Yeah, it's what really bugs me, and I'm going to take it a step from the side from the episode, which is they clearly have someone who is good at writing. Clearly,
Someone.
please, whoever is like orchestrating this, just take 2 years on the next series and give it to this one writer, because holy crap, it would make better than the tripe that's the rest of this episode. Please.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
So then Sabrina says she's afraid of facing Harvey, but eventually we cut to school where Sabrina is, and she sees Harvey and runs away, because rather than facing Harvey, she runs into the girls' bathroom.
Of course, yeah.
And
It's a solid answer, I have to say.
It's not the worst answer, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
you made it so he had to kill his brother, so you know.
Yeah, it probably doesn't want to see your face right now.
Probably not. But then she runs into Roz and Susie, who blurt out and ask her if she's a witch. And Sabrina does her usual, let me try to, like, weasel my way out of this, and then they just keep being like, well, yeah, but Aunt Dorothea wrote about you, and also my crazy psychic grandmother says that you're a witch, and also this, and also this. And finally she's like, okay, yeah, fine, I'm a witch.
Yeah, she's like, I wanted to tell you so many times. And she basically tells them what happened with Harvey, that, you know, she raised Tommy, Harvey had to kill him, and now he doesn't want to talk to her, and they're broken up, and she's super sad about it. She didn't ever want to hurt anyone. And
her friends...
You go.
I was going to say her friends rally around her, which you're supposed to be led to believe that her friends will, like, break away from her when they find out she's a witch, but at no point did I ever think Roz and Susie or even Tommy would be like, a witch? I can't be friends with you now. Like, this whole show, they've all been very supportive people. The worst person in the show is Sabrina.
Yeah. My mother told me if I had nothing nice to say about something, I shouldn't say it. Thankfully, my mother is not on my shoulders. I'm about to say.
That's also not how review shows work, Valanda.
No, yeah. I have to say this was not good writing, because I don't know if it was in the delivery or the words that she was saying, but I honestly didn't feel her remorse. I didn't feel that when she was saying it, and it very much like, oh, we still love and we still care. It's like she did a great world of distracting away from the major problem. She did the PR answer of like, oh, that's a question I don't want to answer. I'm going to talk about something more painful, and then you'll feel sorry for me. I had that through this entire bit, because she doesn't really apologize to them about a lot of things that she's done to them, or like basically using Roz at one point. Like she automatically goes to her pain and her misery, and they forgive her for that. I'm like, no, I mean,
as I said, Sabrina is the worst person in the show.
Yes, absolutely.
When Sabrina finds out about Aunt Dorothea, I will guarantee you, I will bet you anything in the world that she will be like, I know better than everyone else and I say it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Because Sabrina is if this were a YA novel, she'd be the hero and she would be right all the time, but it is not. It's apparently just like the opposite of a young adult novel, where it's just like the hero is wrong constantly and forever.
Yeah, and there's very little redemption in this, and it's super hurting me. I don't know, like, just that scene, I didn't feel her friends rallying around her was like really natural. Like, there are bits in this episode that, like, yeah, it's natural for that to happen, but the way they just instantly jumped over that, and we just gave her like airing her pain, and I don't know if it was acted well. It just didn't feel like clicking.
I've got a thought about it.
Yeah.
Maybe Sabrina's just like a sociopath, and so she's excels at manipulating people. So maybe that's it.
Okay.
I don't think that's what it's supposed to be, but it's at least an excuse.
We could like, if we even like feel like we have the want to do series 2, we should consider that she's a psychopath. Just like a sociopath, and just do it from there. Like, oh, okay, that's really clever piece of writing for a sociopath. Like, we should look at this. It's interesting, Drew. I like it.
We'll just figure it out from there.
Yeah.
But during this scene, we cut into one of the stalls where Wardwell is sitting and spying, and she's angry because her friends didn't abandon her, even though I don't know why they would, because all they found out was that she's a witch, and that's not honestly the worst thing in the world.
No, and they all both suspected it. And they weren't like, but I'm a witch. They were like, are you a witch? Like,
yeah. Let me tell you, I have some friends who identify as witches, and like, I'm not like, cool, let me burn you at the stake. I'm just like, okay, that's whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, why would you expect that this, what is happening? Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to Wardwell, who at her house talking to somebody, and she says she's gonna find the 13. And then we see a scene of her walking down the hallway and pointing at a random football player. And then
it's like, yeah, you'll do. Your warm body, yeah, you'll do.
And then it cuts to Nick and Sabrina talking in front of the statue of the Dark Lord, and he says that he's sorry about what happened. And then the Weird Sisters walk by. Honestly, the only time anyone uses the correct way for a person, like the Weird Sisters are clearly going somewhere, just happen to pass their favorite, punching bag, and they make fun of her on their way, and they just continue to doing what they're doing. They don't stop. Nick doesn't run out of the scene randomly.
It's one of the few times when them actually interacting isn't something and I've awkwardly finished this conversation and awkwardly finished that conversation and now I'm left with nothing to do. No, it's they literally pass, they treat her like scum and they carry on. It's fluid.
It's very nice. And then Nick talks about how he wishes he could love people. Witches are so good at lust and sex, and just you wouldn't believe how good, how much of a good fucker I am, Sabrina. Witches are so good at sex anyway. Like, it had that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a look at my dick.
Yeah,
touch my dick.
It had that feel to it.
Please don't.
But he's like,
and he was like, yeah, I feel sorry, and I'm glad that you can love, and I wanna feel that. I trade all the witch orgies for this.
Which also, why witch orgies? Just say orgies.
Yeah.
You don't need to clarify which orgies.
No, it's the dark orgies.
They're held in the dark bathroom.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh my god. But then, during this conversation, the statue of the Dark Lord starts to leak blood. I would say cry, because it's definitely coming out of the eyes, but it's also just coming out of the hairline of the Dark Lord.
Yeah, so like the statue of the Dark Lord has like this little girl to his right and a little boy to his left.
Yep.
And it begins like crying tears from his eyes, but also from like the pentagram on his forehead.
Head, yeah.
It's like, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. It looks kind of rad. It's too clean, but I kind of like
it. It's a very interesting thing. And then obviously from this point, because, every scene in this show ends at the weirdest point. So we jump to another scene because we just hit the weird point. So we just leave where it's night and the football player we saw earlier is with some young girl. Spoiler alert. It's Miss Wardwell wearing somebody else's face. And she kills him to summon the Greendale 13.
Yeah, I have to say though, props to that actress and the voice syncing, because sometimes lip syncing is super bad.
That's true.
And it was done real well. And the girl that she chose would clearly, like, looking at it, was like, oh, that's clearly Wardwell. That's clearly a younger Wardwell. I was like, it was good. Like, props to that little bit. Not props, however, to what follows.
No.
Because all she needed to do was like, I summon you bitches from the other side, and slit a virgin's throat. Like, that's all it took.
Yeah, apparently that's apparently the doors that hold vengeful witch ghosts at bay, super easy to just like break down. You just kill a virgin and say like, hey, come here. They show up.
And then randomly they get 2 1-hour slots over 2 days.
Yeah, I even watching this the first time, I didn't understand that. She's like, for 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow, for the witching hour, you can roam the world. Why 2? You only killed 1 virgin.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that, like, if they got to come back every witching hour until like they were cursed or sent back or something, that I'd understand. But like, or 13, even 13 nights would have made sense. Drew, 13. I don't get 2.
Well, let me tell you, Valanda, we just don't understand the exchange rate on virgin blood in hell. That's the problem. And virgin blood will clearly power a spell for 2 nights and no more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
He wasn't that much of a virgin. I mean,
no, you know, he did
insinuation is
some he did some over the shirt stuff.
yeah, clearly got to second base, so he'd got 2 nights.
That's what it was.
Clearly.
So then she tells them that for this night, wander the town of Greendale and refamiliarize yourself with it. Like, understand the town. So we get a bunch of shots of the witches walking through town. And these ladies playing the Greendale 13 are doing just the most stereotypical zombie walks I have ever seen.
Yeah. It's very, stilted. Definitely is the word for that. Like,
it's not the worst. It doesn't ruin anything, but it's quite funny to imagine that the ghosts are walking around and their joints are a little stiff.
Yeah, they're like, I need to roll my shoulders a little bit. Oh, jeez. Like, it adds that creepiness, but it doesn't detract in any way. It's just like, it's clearly like, you know exactly what's going on here. You're seeing like 13 ghosts from back into day, like finding Yasmin on it. You see that, and it's a little tropey, but it fits. It's okay.
It does. And honestly, the scenes of them going through town are some of the best scenes in this episode. Because first we see Hilda and Dr. Cerberus cleaning up the cafe, and the lights flicker, and Hilda's like, "Oh, it feels like a train passing a graveyard," and there's like ghost women walking by the door or the window, and then they both
that sentence is so good. Like, it conveys so much, and it's like, oh, that's creepy. I know exactly what she's feeling. It's so good.
It's a good sentence. And they both spin around and look, and there's no witches. There's nothing outside the window. So they're just like, ooh, that's creepy. And then we see...
And then, scene change.
Yep, scene change. Then we get Blackwood, who's instead of at her desk, in the Academy of Unseen Arts, or in his house, he's standing randomly at the pulpit in the rundown church that they have their coven in. And his book sets on fire and he freaks out.
I have to say, I would agree on that point.
That's fair. If my book's just lit on fire, I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah. I again, we saw that it's like outside the establishing shot, they bring the witches into that, and it is, again, like, if they'd done something a bit better with the music, I guess it would have been super creepy. Like, especially if they paced this episode super well, they could have been real creepy. But that shot alone is like, yeah, that belongs in a horror movie. That's real good.
Oh, definitely. Like,
and then boof, scene change.
Scene change, because now we get to see Susie get awoken by Dorothea, and then she apparently wakes up and then immediately just knows, oh, I should look out the window, where she finds all 13 of the ghosts standing there and dancing in a circle, and Dorothea gives us a bunch of exposition about how she brought them over to the New World, and she cut them down from the tree they were hanged in, and she buried them, and all the witches are mad because the other witches didn't do anything for them.
Yeah. Again, a nice, useful piece of exposition, given in an interesting way, and watching the witches, the 13 women, walk around in the circle, as Susie like opens the curtain a bit to look down, they all look up at her.
Yeah,
and that was creepy. Like,
one of the better creepy scenes, and also the ground is covered in fog, and
of course,
it's really good. And then when she looks back and they're all gone, the fog's gone and everything, and I was like, nice,
atmospheric and good. So someone can clearly write horror here and do it well. Like, those couple of little scenes, really good.
Yeah. And then we get an Ambrose and Luke scene, which is kind of
awkward.
Yeah. They're wandering through the woods because they're going to go find their favorite spot. And they're making a bunch of...
find Luke's favorite spot.
Oh, yeah, Luke's favorite spot, which Ambrose makes a terrible sex joke about. And then they find a bunch of witches summoning something.
Yeah.
And when they leave, Luke and Ambrose run over to where they were. And oh no, they're summoning a big, scary monster.
Yeah. I didn't catch what the Latin was because it didn't appear in the subtitles. I always watch with subtitles because I miss a lot, and yeah. So I didn't catch up what it was. But I have a big question on this. Mm-hmm. Why is Ambrose walking freely outside the Spellman home?
Well, you remember how his sentence was changed a little bit. He had to be able to leave the Spellman home because he goes to the academy at least every day.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean, because if he's under magical house arrest, he should only be allowed to leave at certain times or go to certain places. Whatever. It doesn't.
I mean, like doing the high priest like cousin or nephew, whatever it is, it's not academy work.
No, but you know what?
He's not getting extra credit for it.
Well, we don't know that. They're witches. We don't know what they do.
Okay. Right.
But we had to involve Ambrose in some way, because otherwise, how would we get this cool scene of a ghost lady lifting Ambrose up and throwing Luke around to deliver a message?
Yeah, I say the witch ghost lady, like I think she's supposed to be the leader of the 13 or something. She has these really big freaky eyes. And she's so old. And it's like, oh yeah, you're creepy, you're just you as you are.
Quality casting job. You're creepy already.
You're creepy. Like, clearly they added a lot of makeup effects, and like I appreciate the work they did. That was just like, yeah, you make me uncomfortable looking at you. So it's a good job.
Oh, it is. And then we go to the library at school, which this doesn't make sense. It's it's at the witching hour, which means it's between midnight and 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to the library at school where Harvey's hanging out drawing. But why?
Because I don't know, maybe it's because it's quiet there.
What school library is open at after midnight?
No, it's not the witching hour.
It is, because that's when Wardwell summons them. She summons them at the witching hour and says they will come back at the next witching hour to exact their revenge. So they wander through town during one of the witching hours and summon their big bad.
I thought this was like really early in the morning or lunchtime the next day.
I don't think so. I think it's still dark. No, it's definitely still dark, because in the next scene, we see outside and it's still dark.
Oh.
So, what the fuck is happening here?
Oh, yeah, like my local school library was definitely not open after like 5.
Yeah, like after everyone's supposed to leave.
Yeah. No, I have no idea then. I've got nothing.
But it doesn't matter. They have a little chat about what happened, and Harvey's like, I just can't see you right now because I look at you and I see my dead brother that I murdered. And before he gets further than that, Aunt Hilda pops in, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, Harvey. I understand your brother died. That's really sad. But Sabrina, you need to come to the Church of Shadows. Father Blackwell has called an emergency meeting, so pop along and meet me over there.
It's definitely during the day.
Is it?
Because Sabrina turns to her and says, what, in the middle of the day?
Then why is it dark when Ambrose rushes in later?
I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be happening later that evening. I don't really know.
It doesn't matter. This is all like complaining about something that literally is background noise.
I know, but it's super weird.
It really is. Anyway, Aunt Hilda runs away. And I say runs away. She walks around a bookshelf and vanishes. And then Harvey's like, your aunt wasn't here, was she? And Sabrina's like, no, she was doing witch stuff. Anyway, I have to go. Bye.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you should go. It's covered stuff. Just leave. And they have a, yeah, like, maybe we can still talk and be friends vibe going on.
Maybe.
Which is shut down by the, I'm going to go deal with my coven. BRB.
BRB, I gotta go do witch stuff. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. And then I think we go back to the Church of the Night, right?
Now we go to the Church of the Night, where we see all the witches gathered, and Blackwood, oh my god, Blackwood's like, I understand what happened. Satan is gonna kill everyone because we didn't follow the old ways and let boys do what boys want to do, even though, what are you talking about, man? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and Ambrose bursts in because he also attended the villain school of how to enter a building.
We definitely finish this 10-episode series with 13 last-minute burst into the room things.
So he comes bursting in, holding this little model of a white horse with a red knight on it, and basically says, "It's not Satan, it's the 13, and they're summoning the Red Angel of Death, which kills all the firstborns, mortal and witch alike, because those witches pretty pissed that the old witches basically gave you up."
Yeah, which in the next scene we get some more exposition finally.
Yeah, we actually learn.
But Blackwood's like, we'll just go into the school, and all of the witches there will just stop the evil witches from letting the rider get to us. And nobody cares about the mortals, so it's fine. And Sabrina's like, what the fuck?
She's like, we need to look after the mortals, yo. And he's like, no, get out of here. And then we, boom, scene change.
Yep, because here we go, back to the mortuary, where Sabrina asks, why do the 13 hate us so much? And Zelda, props to her, says that it's a dark part of history, but it is their history, and you should know the truth about it. Which, yes, you should not shy away from history, because then you're just going to fuck everything up again.
Yeah, there's a reason why we're supposed to remember the dark things in our history, so we don't do them again, people. Like, don't whitewash it out. Yes, it's sucky, but don't whitewash it out. We need to remember these things, otherwise we'll do shit things again. That's why we have memories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we find out. Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
No,
go.
no.
Tell. No.
You may go. No, I wish for you to go.
I don't want to go. I'm drinking.
Fine. So Artsy basically explains that the 13 witches were caught during like witch fever of the Salem trials, and when those three were being held and tortured and basically hung by their neck until they were dead on the tree, the rest of the witches decided that they would use them as scapegoats. They buried their cauldrons, they burnt their puppets, and basically pretended to be normal people and let the 13 die so that the rest of them could live. Naturally, the 13 were like, I don't like that. So that's why they're super pissed at the rest of the witches.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like, it's a good reason. And Sabrina's like, oh, no wonder they don't like us. But then Sabrina's like, I won't let my friends die, and I don't care what you say, Zelda. And Zelda's like, no, we're not gonna let the mortals die. Which I do love, because everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
And Zelda, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, in this episode, Auntie goes from, like, so in this episode, but all the everything's just all been about, like, keeping up their face, doing as the Church of the Night says, and she's just gone, like, in this episode, after watching, Sabrina go through what she did, nah, fuck this. We need to step up and do things. This is made by witches. Witches should be the ones to stop this.
Yeah. I also like how she says, we're spellmans, which means we stand up and we do what's right, just like your father did, Sabrina. So clearly hinting that something else happened. But, spellmans, there's a reason why Edward was a high priest. Yes.
So they make a plan. The plan being that Aunt Hilda from her friend Dr. Cerberus, who used to be a weatherman, said that in case of emergency and there's a tornado, everyone will be ushered to the school basement. So they summon a tornado.
Which I like how Ambrose, he's so excited. He's like, oh, that's so easy to do.
He's like, yeah, I got this. So they summoned the four winds of all the different directions to create a tornado.
Which I do want to say, out of all the spells in this show, this is one of my favorites. Because it's just really simple, but like such a good spell. Yeah. Like they get a map of the town, they put a bowl of water on it, they name the four winds and summon them by opening mason jars. Mm-hmm. And then the water in the bowl spins around as like wind picks up. It's just like a cool little spell.
It's super simple. It's not over flashy, and it's not in like some strange like language or anything in Latin so that we don't understand what's being said. It's genuinely a very cool sounding and looking spell. Like it's good. It's real simple, and you get the feeling, there's good magic going on here. This is good.
It's the kind of magic I like.
Yeah.
Like simplistic things that have like drastic changes.
Yeah.
It's the kind of magic systems I like. I just want to dig into. Doesn't matter. Yeah. We'll get back to that. Because now we have to go back to Wardwell talking for a minute as she sits in a chair. And she's like, oh, the mortals mostly listened. And we immediately cut right back away from the scene, so I don't know why we went there to begin with.
Yeah.
Of back to Baxter High, where a bunch of people are running inside.
Of course.
Yeah. And the principal is a creepy little asshole again.
Yeah.
It still feels weird.
Over the top, and it's making innuendos of things that clearly aren't. I mean, that's the point of like his characters. He's supposed to be like cringe-worthy,
that's the thing
to do the thing, but like it's just wrong.
But that's the thing. He didn't have that character trait until literally more than halfway through the show.
Yeah,
because before he was just like misogynistic and an asshole, and then randomly they're like, oh no, he's like slimy, gross dude. He's hitting on Wardwell all the time. And it's like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, like if this was going to be a defining character trait, maybe have him like in the first like 1 or 2 episodes in which we see him hitting on another teacher. Like, but we get none of that. I understand why he's not hitting on the 16-year-old girls, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like, we needed to see it elsewhere for that to be like a thing, and it was just super weird.
It's a very
Anyway.
yeah, whatever. So then the witches all gather at the Unseen Academy, which is not what it's called, but that's what it is. And Luke tells Lord Blackwood that everyone's there except for the Spellmans. And Blackwood's
Yeah.
like, good, they will perish.
And Luke's like, no, but Ambrose. And in the background up on this, because this where all the witches are being ushered, is around that creepy like devil statue with the children. And there's a balcony above that, which we never saw before. Like, cool, all right, cool, I'll take it. So like Luke and Blackwood's wife are up there, and we can see Blackwood's wife is clearly looking distressed.
Very distressed.
Very distressed. Very unhappy.
Yeah, something's going on. Something's happening with Lady Blackwood.
I mean, a spoon did fall.
A spoon, yep, spoon fell. But she's barely entering her 4th trimester. What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, you can't have 4 trimesters. It's in the name.
No sense.
It's like a 5th quadrant.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna get so angry about that if I keep going. Sabrina and Susie run into each other in the hallway back at Baxter High. And Susie's like, Harvey's not here, and Roz isn't here. Oh no, what do we do? And Sabrina... yeah, Sabrina's like, I'll go talk to Harvey. You go find Roz. But be back before midnight.
But doesn't tell her why, even though they now know that she's a witch.
Valanda, why would she tell her?
Because she's a good friend.
Again, Sabrina is the worst person in this show.
Absolutely. Like that one sentence, because I mean, she knows that Susie's got to be like firstborn, right? She's got to know this. She's got to know that Roz is also firstborn. Like, so she could just say, "You got to be back by midnight, because if you're not, you're probably gonna die because you're a firstborn." Like that, really easy to throw in. Like she knows now. Like there's no point hiding this jazz from her, but alas, they do.
They do.
Because Sabrina.
So we cut to Sabrina at Harvey's house, where he's like, no, we're going to stay here because I have a storm shelter, and my dad can't go because he's drunk. And Sabrina then tells him that he's going to die if he doesn't go.
Which is dumb, because she knows that he's not a firstborn. So he's not going to die.
And Harvey's like, no, I'm not a coward. Honestly, like, Harvey's, like, character development was really good, and now he just kind of sounds like an angry child, and I guess it makes sense, but...
Yeah, we can give him, like, 1 episode to be a miserable, stroppy kid. Like, I get it. Like, his brother just died because of witchcraft. He doesn't want to rely on witchcraft to look after himself. I get that. That's a solid argument. I appreciate, but as long as it doesn't go on over and over, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. So then he tells her to get out because he's not going to listen to her.
Clearly.
Yeah. And so we go to Susie and Roz, and Roz won't leave because her Nana won't leave, and her Nana's like, why would I leave? Like, I'm an old lady anyway, I'm going to die. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, she's like, I've been here for 30 years. I ain't moving. Like
fuck that. So Susie says that she'll stay because this is the dumbest plan.
I guess it's solidarity, isn't it? Like,
I guess.
Like, I think their relationship is definitely way closer than Sabrina with anyone else, because Sabrina.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that they're just like, yeah, they're going to stick together. If you're not going to leave, I'm not going to leave. We're friends. Let's do this. They have no plan, but still.
They're just going to sit there, and who knows what'll happen. But then Sabrina gets back to the church, or not the church, the school, and runs into her aunt, Zelda, who tells her, who's like, where have you been? It's almost midnight. And she's like, oh, I had to make a stop. And then we cut back to Harvey's house where Nick shows up. And Nick's like, mortal, Sabrina sent me to help you. And he says, your girlfriend sent me. And he's like, she's not my girlfriend. And he's like, whatever, I'm her friend. And he's like, what kind of friend?
What kind of friend? Friend from where? Who? What? What?
Like,
showing up my different... Wait, what? Huh?
What?
Yeah, so it's the awkward boyfriend, not boyfriend thing going on.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, and it's interesting. But But then, boom, we're out of that scene.
We're out of that scene because the 13 start showing up and they start knocking down the doors. But the witches at the Academy of Unseen Arts and the Spellmans at the school are holding them back.
Of course.
But at Nana's place, the door just flies open.
Yep.
And Susie tries to do something by being like, I'm related to Dorothea Putnam, and she helped all of you, so stop. And then we leave that scene.
Yeah. Like, it's good. It's good to see her stepping up. Like, Susie's like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to give something a go. It's that wonderful, like, D&D moment where you go, I've got no options. I'm going to balls to the wall and see if I can talk my way out of this. And she tries, and it's beautiful.
You gotta roll the dice sometimes.
Yep.
But the problem I have with it is we cut from that scene before anything happens. Yeah, and it's like, let something happen.
Just extend some of these scenes rather than cutting backwards and forwards all the time. Just it gives it a much nicer flow, because now they're just like, I don't know where we're bouncing to all the time. Like, it's crazy. Just let that scene play out and it'll be way more impactful, but they don't. So we bounce on to another scene.
So we go back to the school where the Spellmans are all standing in a circle, holding hands on the Baxter High crest. And Sabrina's like, is the spell working? Is the spell working? Is the spell working? And Zelda says that as long as they stay focused, it'll be okay. And then she vanishes.
Yeah.
Because she was brought to the school by Lord Blackwood because his wife has gone into labor.
Yeah, which fair, actually. Go for that one a fair.
Yeah,
Call.
I can't fault him for that. Your wife went into labor, and the only person that you trust is far away. Like, yeah, you magic them there.
Yes, like
so
there's a thing here. The wife is giving birth. You want to do a thing?
Yeah. So then she's like, ugh. And then she's like, I need prudence, and you need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I love that little bit, because that clearly comes from a place of being annoyed. Not necessarily a place of like, you shouldn't be here. This is the birth of your children. It's more a case of like, no, I just need you out of my face.
I don't want to deal with you right now. Go the fuck away.
Just fuck off. So yeah, and then she gives the orders, and Faustus, like I guess appropriately a bitch at that point, and goes off and does what he's told.
Runs off to do what he's told. But then we go back to the school where Sabrina is like, oh no, can the three of us do this, Aunt Hilda? Oh no, oh no, oh no. And then Ambrose vanished.
And they all just like, no.
And then Ambrose is at the school because Luke brought him there. Mm-hmm. And they have a little fight, which, and then Luke's like, no, you have to be here because I love you. And Ambrose gives him this very weird look. And
I think it's surprise.
But it also, like, it has this look of just like he's definitely not expecting it, and he feels like something's up.
Yeah, it feels like it's a play or a ploy. I mean, to be fair, it maybe is still a direct effect of Hilda's love potion.
Maybe, but he doesn't know about the love potion.
Oh. So yeah, there's just an odd look there, and it's like, I want to pull that apart. But, bamf, scene change.
Yep, back to the school, where Hilda and Sabrina are trying to hold this door shut when Wardwell runs up. And she's like, oh, Sabrina, I know the only way to stop this is to do something stupid. You have to come with me.
And Hilda's like, I can't do this on my own. And they're like, well, no other choice. I better go down the dark path. I mean, I better go with Wardwell to try and finish this once and for all.
Bye.
GTFO. And they leave. And it's like, oh. And so Hilda's standing there on her own, looking terrified, but still doing the spell thing.
Hilda's trying her best, and I feel so bad for her. But Wardwell takes Sabrina to the woods where the Book of the Beast is there. And she convinces her to sign her name because it would give her the power to stop the Greendale 13.
And isn't it more important that her friends don't die than having some pissing match with the Dark Lord? I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good.
But they undercut it, unfortunately, because we start hearing the horse hooves. Mm-hmm. And we see the Crimson Rider, the Red Angel of Death. And for some reason, he's dressed like Paul Revere with a skeleton mask.
It was so bad.
It's not the worst VFX in this whole show, but it really undercuts things, especially considering it's the Angel of Death. He's a timeless being. Why is he dressed like Paul fucking Revere?
It's super bad. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be effects or something, but they could have done so much more with this. And it was it was bad. It was like a cheap plastic figurine put in like a really nice, like gory ass setting.
You know, honestly, you're right. And the worst part is they follow that up with a really cool shot, because the shot after that, Sabrina's like, I don't know, okay. And Wardwell turns into a puff of smoke, and suddenly the Dark Lord's behind Sabrina, and he's super creepy because he's in the shadows, and it's like just enough light hitting him that like outlines, like it like highlights all the like
odd little things, and like we see his like arms wrap around her arm so that like it cuts her hand, and like it does the blood on the book thing, and like that scene looks good.
It's so good.
Especially in comparison to the plastic figurine we just had.
It's kind of a letdown because you did the Beast, and that Beast looks amazing, and the Crimson Rider looks like you guys ran out of money.
Yeah, it really does.
But we cut back to the academy where Lady Blackwood is giving birth, and Zelda's like, "Oh, it's your first," and she stops, and Lady Blackwood's like, oh, "Where's my son?" And she's like, "Oh, he's healthy. He's just tired," and she puts him in a basket.
Doesn't even say he. I was.
That's true.
There's like they're strong and healthy, and Prudence is like, but and she's like, nope,
shit,
nope, let's not do this. And Bamf
back to Baxter High, where Dr. Cerberus runs up to and finds Hilda, and he's like, "You should be downstairs," and she's like, "Oh, I'm just saying a little prayer," and she's like, "Will you hold my hands?" Which is so cute.
It is. I know, because I think he offers to, doesn't he?
Maybe, yeah, I think he does. But he holds her hands to give her strength during her prayer.
It is super cute. Like you could just like in the scene before when they were in the diner, there was like a little like, oh, that's a real little intimate moment there. They have it again here, and it's really sweet. And then she's like, "Are you a firstborn?" And he's like, "Yep." And you can see that resignation on her face of like, I need to hold his hands right now, but I need him not to be here or he's going to die. And she casts a spell on him, and he runs.
He runs away.
And it's like, oh, Hilda.
And then we cut away again to another scene. And we're back to Susie and Roz, because the ghost lady leaves, and Susie's like, "I did it!" And then Nana's like, "No, the Angel of Death's showing up. You didn't do anything."
They just stared at you for a bit.
Just really undercut that moment of victory.
Yeah, like, I don't know what I did, but I did something. No, you didn't do anything. Like, the Angel of Death's here now. And I believe that's kind of the last we see from them for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, then we just go away. We don't come back to that for a bit. Because we go to Harvey's place where Harvey and Nick have their backs pressed against a makeshift barricade. The door is rattling, and Nick's like, "Are you a firstborn?" And he's like, "No, that was Tommy." And he's like, "Is your dad a firstborn?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right."
Like, for fuck's sake.
And then we cut away again.
Yeah, again, bamf, 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 bamf. These what could be very good and really cool scenes. Nah, bamf out of it.
Yep. So we cut away this time to the hanging tree, where Sabrina is like, "How do I do this?" And Wardwell says, "It's the power to change the world and the will to do it." So Sabrina tells the 13 to quit it and come here.
And they do.
Yep. But before we get to that, it goes back to the school.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Where the 13 leave, and then the door starts banging because the Red Death is there, and his plastic Halloween mask keeps getting lit up like a flashlight. Okay.
It's super bad. But they do try and hide how bad this is by putting it between on the other side of some slightly frosted or rippled glass.
Yep. And then we go back to the hanging tree.
Yep.
Where Sabrina's like, "If you don't stop, I'll kill you." And the witches are like, "What are you gonna do? We're ghosts. Like, fuck off, kid."
Yeah, it's like the lead ghost, the creepy one that held Ambrose previously. She's clearly the leader. She steps up and it's like, "Don't be a child. Like, you can't burn me. We're dead witches. What are you gonna do?" She's like, "I'm going to burn you with hellfire." And they're like, "Child, no way."
Only 3 witches have ever summoned hellfire, and she's like, "It's gonna be 4." And then she summons hellfire because Sabrina's a fancy girl, and she's the most important person in this story, even though she's the worst.
She's the snowflake of this point of the I am a half-breed, therefore I'm special, therefore the rules don't apply to me in quite the same way, and I have magical powers exactly when I need them to be there.
And her hair turns white for some reason.
Yeah, it's gone white. It's
I think.
to be fair, that makes sense. I think in the aesthetics coming up at the end of this
Well,
episode.
there's that, but also I'm pretty sure they really wanted to give her white hair because the comics she's always had white hair. Like the old comics, she had white hair. Which,
Interesting. Perhaps the
granted,
blonde is a throwback to the Teenage Witch, and then the white hair being a throw to the comic books.
yes,
I guess
and
if they're gonna make a change, like the end of the series is a good one.
yeah.
But she chants a lot of Latin in this, a
So
hell of a lot
much.
of Latin, and it's basically along the lines of like, "Yo, give me some hellfire, dark evil lord, burn the tree, burn these witches, because I say so." That's basically the gist of it.
I really wanted. I was like watching this scene, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to hear what she says here."
I'm putting it in a really nice way. Google Translate butchered it. It was so bad.
Dead
Oh, and she
languages.
also talks about summoning green fire. The translation in Latin was talking about green fire, but when you watch it, it's clearly blue.
You think that maybe was a disconnect between the VFX artists and the writers? Because that's what I
Perhaps.
think.
Perhaps. I do have to say that effect did look super effing cool.
It looks really cool, and then is kind of ruined by cutting back to Wardwell, where she says, "And they burned until their charred bodies fell from the sky like ash." Wardwell, do you fucking mean ash? Because that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because she set fire to the tree. I think when you burn things, they make ash, especially tree, especially leaves when they fall. Yeah.
And also, it cuts back to Wardwell and Sabrina at the hanging tree, and there's ash falling from the sky like snow.
Yeah.
What happened in this line? Somebody fucked up somewhere.
Someone didn't do a real continuity check on this.
Yeah.
But like I have to say, yeah, props because that blue fire did look freaking awesome. And the 13
Yeah.
witches burning beneath a big hanging tree, which was also covered in blue fire, did look freaking rad, but it was trashed by the fact they cut back to Wardwell doing stuff.
Yeah.
No, just let that scene play out well. Let Sabrina get her moment of like, hey, I'm powerful. Don't get me wrong, teenage overpower thing is definitely not my thing. But it would have been cool to let her have that moment. But they didn't. Again, they cut it up and they just like bamf, go to another scene. Maybe they have a limit. Maybe they can only record for like an hour a day and that gives them 3 minutes. I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on here.
All the kids are underage, so they only have they have an hour a day where they can record. But we cut to there's another voiceover where Wardwell says that because the 13 were gone and the anger that fueled the Red Death was gone, he goes away. So we cut to Harvey and Nick where they survived, and Harvey's kind of a little piece of shit because he's like, "I don't like Sabrina anymore," and Nick's like, shut up. Like, maybe forgive her because she like honestly loves you.
She loves you. She'd die for you, and she just saved the town. Maybe you want to cut her some slack, dude. And I'm like, yeah.
She's a dumb 16-year-old. Like, she did a dumb thing.
Yeah, and
Granted,
like what I like is
most
because he actually listens to those words because his tune does after that change. Like, yay, we got rid of really annoyed, sad child boy thing. Like,
Now,
cool.
I will say, she did a dumb child thing worse than what most children do. Because most kids don't bring the dead back.
Yeah, and then make their brother shoot them. Like, yeah, that's definitely a big thing. But yeah,
But it
I
was
guess
still
it's
just a
something
dumb teenager thing.
Yeah. By teenage witch standards, I guess pretty dumb. So we finished with them. We bounced away to
Unseen Academy again, where Lady Blackwood has died in birth.
Yes.
And Lord Blackwood comes in, and she's like, "Oh, she died in birth." And he's like, "What about my sons?" And she says, "Oh, only one of them. There's only one son because he ate the other one."
It happens sometimes.
Yes, and Blackwood's like, "Ah, yes, my son." And Zelda and Prudence share a very clear, meaningful look. And Prudence looks terrified.
She does, because the way that Blackwood phrased it, "This is my son and heir." Of course he'd eat his other twin.
Yeah.
This is my son, my heir, my firstborn. And there's a look of like fear for Prudence on Prudence's behalf, and a definitely knowing look of like, oh yeah, something happened.
Something happened. We're going to find out what in a minute. Because we bamf away to Nana, where she has died, and Roz covers her with the blanket she was knitting.
Yep, the Netflix red blanket.
Yep.
Put it over her head.
Then she has this chill pass down her spine, and she looks, and we see a ghost of Nana walk out the door.
Yeah.
And then we cut away again.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the last we see of Roz.
Yep. But we cut to literally my favorite scene in this entire episode.
Okay.
Cerberus and Hilda are standing on the steps of the Spellman mortuary, and she kisses him, and he's like, ooh, yeah. And he like walks away, and we see his eyes flash orange. He's clearly some sort of spooky thing.
Yeah, it's super cool. I super love it.
It's honestly the only thing about this show that makes me want to watch season 2. Yeah. I just want to know what Dr. Cerberus is, and that's it.
Yeah, because they've added this like strange little like romancy thing in this episode, but it kind of comes across really naturally, and I kind of like it. And also like seeing another Spellman fall in love with another mortal, like clearly there's something going on in the Spellman family. They're deviants by witch standards, I guess.
Well, she thinks he's immortal.
Yeah, he's probably like a...
Now the question is, do you think he's a vampire, a werewolf, or a demon?
It would be super funny for him to be a vampire.
Vampire would be funny, but I was thinking, what if he was a demon that left hell and becomes like a big hero?
Oh.
And he
okay, we have to watch at least like the Christmas episode. Maybe it'll be explained there.
Maybe we'll find out. So then we go back into the Spellman house where Hilda is like giggling and coming upstairs, and she comes into her room, and she's like. She's like, oh, Zelda, what are you doing? And Zelda turns around. And she's like, I did something impulsive. And she like moves, which best line. Hilda comes over and she looks down and she's like, did you make a magic baby?
Yeah. It's a baby in dark clothing in a dark bassinet.
Which I love.
In a dark room.
The tone of did you make a magic baby is, I know this is impossible, but please tell me it's a magic baby. Because otherwise, why do you have a fucking baby?
Yeah, and she goes on to explain that, you know, it's Lady Blackwood's baby, that this girl was born before the son, and Blackwood will probably do something horrible, like kill the baby. I think that's the implication we're supposed to get. Yes. And she's like, we can raise it in secret. We've done raised babies before. We've got this. And Hilda's like, I'm leaving this room.
Yeah, I think she's like, I'm moving out. And Zelda's like, wait, what? She's like, of this room. I'm moving out of this room.
Yeah.
For a moment, you're like, oh my God, is she leaving the whole house? No, she just...
Yeah. There was that heartbeat moment of like, no. And then you realize, oh, there's two reasons she could be leaving. One, the baby in the room is probably no. And secondly, she probably wants to get some in her own room.
Yeah, having your own room would be nice.
Yeah.
And then she walks out of the room, and we cut back to the academy, where there's a real Nazi vibe going on. Yeah. Because Blackwood's like, boys, this is my son. Satan clearly says that boys and men should be in charge. I'm going to name him Judas. And all except for the salute is happening here as they chant. And Ambrose is like, this is not good.
Yeah, Ambrose, I think, is literally the only one of all these like boys and men who aren't chanting "Hail Judas, Hail Satan." Yeah, I didn't pick up that Nazi vibe, but yeah, now thinking about it, yeah, you're 100% right. It's all creepy and weird like that. Yeah.
Definitely. Sorry, I was trying to send a message, and for some reason, it won't let me.
It won't go. No.
I'm definitely connected. Let's see if this works. Hey, there we go. I had to send it as a bot. Whatever. Fuck this thing. Anyway. So then we see Harvey in his room, and the wind blows, and Sabrina's there.
Of course.
And he's like, you're astral projecting, aren't you? And because he's a quick study, honestly. He's like, I saw it once, I can spot it again.
He is way smarter than anyone this series gives him credit for. This kid is a way better actor than the writers give him material for. This kid, we could just change the series to be about him and his growth, because honestly, he's probably had the biggest growth of any character in this series.
I think so. He'd make a great witch hunter. He sees magic one time and he's like, magic, got it.
Yes, that would be great. It now becomes like Harvey, witch hunter, rather than Sabrina, the chilling tales thereof.
Sabrina being a terrible person and lying to all of her friends and being a bad, just
Yeah.
really morally gray character from the start.
So they shoot this scene where they do, rather than it always cutting back to Sabrina when he's acting, the director made a good choice of here of like jumping between the two. We have like the traditional like camera over shoulder shots, like here's one person, here's the other person, the talking heads. And they basically go through this little scene of like, do you want to give it a try? And she's like, no, because I did something super bad and I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah, she talks about how bad it was and how it touched something dark inside of her, and she's afraid of it. Like she's worried about what would happen to her friends if she stuck around.
Yeah.
So her friends, while they love and support her and want only the best for her, she's like, no, I must be alone, for no one can understand my pain. And then he says, can I have one last kiss? So she kisses him and then vanishes. And we go to the wrap-up of this episode and this season, where we go back to Wardwell's place, where she wraps up the story, and we see that she has been talking to Principal Hawthorne, where he is tied up on a chair.
Yeah, he's just in his underwear.
And he's like, who are you? What are you doing?
She's like, clearly not Mary Wardwell, but I do like the body. And then she's like explained who she is. She is, and I did like this bit actually. I am the Mother of Demons, the Dawn of Doom.
Mm-hmm. Adam's first husband.
Adam's wife.
First wife.
First wife. Lilith. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because I had that little feeling, like when she said she was like the Mother of Demons, like, is that Lilith? Because I think in like some of the Bible stories, Lilith gave birth to like 1,000 demons a day or something when she was thrown out of the Garden of Eden. I'm like,
yeah, the original story that you don't get in most Bibles now is that God made Lilith, and she was equal to Adam, and she wanted too much, and Satan bribed her so fast, and she became pregnant with all the demons. And then God was like, no, women must be subservient. That will solve the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway. You know, the big scary story about how if women have any power, they'll give birth to demons.
Yeah, and this does come up a few times actually about like the devil being afraid of women having power and knowing they have power. Like this comes up a fair bit.
It does.
And yeah, in this bit, she's like, I'm basically training Sabrina to be Satan's new foot soldier in hell and do all the horrible things that I do, and I'm gonna be his queen. And immediately I went, no, you're not.
No. Well, she also says she calls herself Madam Satan. Which, not the best name. You should have just stuck with the Mother of Demons, the Dawn of Doom, Lilith. Because Madam Satan is not a good one.
No, Satan's concubine. I like that one.
That one's better.
That one was like, I like that one. That was good, because that doesn't like, yeah, I like that one. That's about as good as it's gonna get. I quite like that one. Then I think she eats him.
She does, because I was gonna say she leans over him, and she's like, "Who am I?" And she peels her face off, which the first part looks really cool. And she's like, "I'm the Queen of Hell." And the camera cuts to her, and we see what is honestly what I 100% have seen multiple times is a Halloween bust of a monster that you sit in your yard somewhere, and it shakes in front of the camera, and then the scene cuts.
It's super quick as well. It's like, and bam, that's it. So I think the point is we're not supposed to see much detail on it, but you do get a really clear shot.
It's not shadowy enough. Yeah, we get too much like. It's not good VFX either. Like, it really feels like they were running out towards the end here.
Yeah, because then my next favorite terrible VFX happens. Because I think directly after she eats him, we get the shot of him laying on the ground where he's covered in blood, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's standing there by the fire back in Wardwell. And she's like licking her fingers and she's talking, and we hear the squawking of Stolas. And then she's like, stop squawking, just say it. And we hear a familiar speak. And as we kind of like get the wide shot of we see Stolas, it's a terrible effect. Like, I don't know what they've done to this poor bird, but it looks very much like the animatronic Salem from the Teenage Witch. Like, it was that level of effect, and it was bad.
Yeah, it was not good. And we get the first and only familiar speaking in an English voice, which honestly I dislike because clearly Salem talks throughout the entire show because Sabrina, Ambrose, the aunts, they all respond to the meows as if he's saying something.
Yes.
We did not need a voice. The only reason that an actual voice is being presented here is so that we can get one final bit of exposition.
Yes, because she couldn't deliver it herself.
Yes, of course not. She hasn't been exposing this entire episode, which is not a word, but I'm going with it. But she says that if Sabrina gets too uppity, there's an easy way to handle that. And then she murders Stolas, but like, why? Like, what?
No. So the expedition we get from Stolas is that maybe like Satan isn't like gearing up to marry her, Wardwell, Mother of Demons. Maybe he's gearing up to marry Sabrina, and I thought that was obvious from the start.
Oh, it's 100% obvious. Like,
it's clearly the thing, and she can't have survived this long as his foot soldier and not realize that that's the thing. Like, no, that's not.
Come on,
not see that. Yeah, and then she murders Stolas.
Yeah, which she murders him, and it's really dumb because why did you do it? Anyway, and then we jump to the school where Sabrina's friends are sitting in front of the open fireplace in the library, and they're talking about how they're still Sabrina's friends. She's still going to come to school, right? She's still a good person.
Yeah.
And then we get the last shot of this season, which is she's walking with the Weird Sisters, wearing her red, like,
jacket thing.
Yeah, the red, like, oh my god, what is the Puritan dress thing?
Yep.
And she looks at Nick, who's sitting on some stairs reading a book, and winks at him. And that's it.
Yeah, she has the white hair, she has the overly pale face, the slightly darker lips, and she's clearly supposed to be like the same kind of like disgusting, horrible, witchy, bitchy level as the other Weird Sisters. And they've just accepted her.
Yep.
Ah. Okay.
Well, we wrapped up season 1. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, firstly, that was a terrible closing shot. It was bad. There we go.
All right. I got no argument about it being bad. So my big thing is, and I want to dive into this first before we do anything else, because I want to talk about this. The positive thing about Netflix is that it's basically built for streaming. But not only that, is most shows that are on Netflix are a minimum of an hour long, which an hour is a short movie. You get a short movie, uninterrupted movie, to build story and have conflict and resolution and all these other things. And I was like, I'm so let down by this because it doesn't even feel it doesn't even feel like Monster of the Week. It doesn't feel sitcom-y. Like at times it would leap between like telling a longer story and then just drop it and go to a Monster of the Week thing, and then it would pick up a different story and kind of like wander around with it and then drop that. Like, you had 10 hours, and the first time I watched it, I was buying into it, and the second time I noticed all these like little things, which is depressing. You have 10 hours to tell an interesting story.
Yeah, it can't decide what it wants to be. And like I only watched the first 6 episodes as it ended up being, because I knew there'd be so much to talk about. But these last 4 episodes are just like, I watched them all fresh, and a lot of them are like, what is this? This is a huge letdown. Like, I knew there was going to be things to talk about. There are little things that niggled me, little things that I found interesting, things that I thought they were doing really well. These last 4 episodes, like watching them fresh, they're just not good. They just don't seem to know what they're doing, and it's frustrating because there are moments of absolute gold in this. Like, Hilda and Zelda are just amazing. Ambrose, I want to know more about. They did a great thing with Cerberus and chucking him in. He's clearly giving me something in season 2. Harvey, the kid playing Harvey, is an amazing actor. Please, for the love of everyone except Sabrina, I want to know more about.
Yeah.
Genuinely, apart from probably Faustus, I give 0 Fs about him. But like,
Whatever.
I want to know about everything about the side characters except Sabrina. And what frustrates me is because she is in places a very good actress, but she's given some really bad lines in places, and she plays them as best as she could. And it's just like, I need you to be good because you have potential. It's there. Like you have themes are very interesting. Don't explore them properly.
I think the not problem, but I think where they're kind of falling short is that Sabrina, rather than just being a cool character, is being treated as the gateway character in the story, which
Yeah.
means that all the other characters that have cool lore and interesting things going on are not our main character. Our main character is Anakin from the prequels, and I'm like, however you feel about the prequels, Anakin's not an interesting character. Like,
No.
he's the bridge to the world of the early days, and it's like, I don't care. I have no investment in what's happening here. Your main character doesn't make me interested. Your side characters make me interested.
Yeah, like there could be like a series around Harvey learning that he's a demon or a witch hunter and finding out his girlfriend is a witch. Like there could be a whole series around Roz and the cunning. There could be a series based around Susie and their identity and Aunt Dorothea. Like those things would be super interesting, cool things. Even a series based around like the aunts and how they got to where they are and raising this rebellious teen. Shift the focus of the story, please.
Yeah. Like, considering Sabrina doesn't have anything interesting going on, I don't care about Sabrina. I want to see the aunts back in the coronation of Queen Victoria getting drunk and waking up naked on the Thames. Like, I want to see that kind of thing. Sabrina just kind of wanders around and is like, stuff. I don't care. Like, I don't have any interest in what Sabrina's doing. And again, the fact that she made all these proclamations throughout this entire show and immediately broke them one after the other, the signing the book thing wasn't like, oh my god, she took a step down the path. It was just like, okay, you, like every other 16-year-old, you're like, I am never gonna do that. Hold on, let me go do that thing. Like, it's just kind of a letdown. Like, if they had played it, if the whole thing was building Sabrina up as a good person, and then at the end you see her take her first step to being a bad person.
Yeah.
Like going down the path of darkness where Satan can get a hold of her. It'd be like, this is interesting. I see Sabrina. I like Sabrina. Sabrina's a genuinely good character. But they kind of they built that up for like a couple episodes and then stopped that. And then Sabrina just kind of became annoying and kind of a placeholder the whole time. And she just constantly made declarations and stopped them.
Yeah, I think I called it at one point. Like she makes 3 very clear declarations, like I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, and she ended up doing them all. Yeah. Like the first 2 she did in that episode or the episode afterwards, and then she signed her name in the book. Like every declaration I think she's made, she has gone back on one way or another.
Yes, like if I were reading, I'm going to use an example of like Harry Dresden. If I was reading the Dresden Files, and in one book, Harry Dresden's like, I will never work for the evil queen of fairies, and then later he works for the evil queen of fairies, I'd be like, ooh, he held out for so many books and then he's kind of forced into doing it. Spoiler alert, that happens in the whole thing.
Okay, cool. All right.
But anyway, the point is, it became a big thing. It was like, oh, you had to back out. Like, you had to do this thing, and it became such a big reason about why you had to do it. Sabrina just, it didn't have any impact because she just did everything she said she wasn't going to do anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know,
yeah, this they could have handled a lot of this so much better, and they did. I think this finale, I think we called it either before we started this or as we were starting this, like they rushed this and they didn't handle things properly. Again, They did that thing where they're trying to tell too many separate little stories, like bamf, change scene, bamf, change scene, bamf, change. No, focus on the thing and really build up her having and have her choose to do this, not like I'm going to take you there. Like someone say, like we need the power to do this, and only like X amount of she then has to go make that choice to go do that. Like that's a thing.
Yes, and also I'm going to say this, they never. Susie feels like they want points for inclusion without ever actually saying anything. Sort of like how J.K. Rowling wants points for Dumbledore being gay, but it wasn't directly in the book, and then later she was like, yeah, he was gay. And it's like, you don't get points for after the fact, after you've secured your throne, being like, yeah, by the way, all those characters were gay. Like,
Yeah, well, it feels like an afterthought now. They had such a good thing for that, and then it became an afterthought. And it's
yeah,
like, God damn it,
you don't
guys!
get
Come on.
points for not stating it.
Yes.
Like, hinting at it is not points, because sure, they hinted at plenty of, like, there's plenty of characters out there that are hinted at being whatever, and the authors are like, yes, this is what they are, but like, you don't get points for being progressive by not just being like, boom, yes, deal with it.
Yeah. Again, to say a series all of its own that deals with her identity and like coming out as doing as she is or as they are, like that's a thing. But they just skip over it, and it's super annoying. They had such a good premise and setup for this, like the social justice thing they were doing at the beginning of everyone should be treated the same. So that's a super good solid start, but they don't ever actually carry it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, darn it.
And things like, they add too many little things. I mean, you kind of said that earlier, but they add too many little things. So there's so many little stories throughout this whole thing, rather than focusing on, like I said, like, this should be the season where we like Sabrina, where we see Sabrina as the bright shining star and how amazing and wonderful Sabrina is. This is that
Like
season.
the other side characters should not be overtaking her in like being liked. Like, yeah, we should get hints that like Susie's going through thing. We should get hints that like the cunning is becoming a thing. Like, they should be small hints here, but they devote so much time to these small hints. Like, we don't actually get enough time to like Sabrina.
Yeah, we
Like,
don't. And in the end, like, when she signs the book and, like, I guess sort of becomes the devil's concubine, like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what happens to her. She's not the person I care. I care about Roz and Susie and Harvey and the aunts and Ambrose.
yeah.
She could go fucking fall off a cliff. I don't really care. Which is not good. Your main character should not be the thing that I'm having afterthoughts about. I should be like,
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
if we
she's there.
remove Sabrina from this and devoted more time to the side characters, this could be a really good ensemble piece.
Yeah.
Like, there's no main character. This is an ensemble thing. You get like a bottle episode or whatever, or they did an overriding arc where all the bottle episodes like working in together at the finale, like most of the old TV shows used to be. Like, do something like that. That'd be super cool. But yeah, Sabrina, I don't care. I don't like her. She's a pain in the ass. I really hope she gets her comeuppance or changes her tune or something cool happens next series.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to watch it.
And if the whole point of what they're trying to set up is that the battle between light and dark, this should be the season where you see Sabrina as the light, and then the next season would be Sabrina being dark, and then you'd get the Sabrina being redeemed, and like,
yes,
that, and like they hint a bunch at like, oh, there's a big plot behind Sabrina, and her parents died for it, and they just kind of like keep leaving that alone when that should be part of the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a truth-telling cake. I'm not going to worry about what happened to my dead parents. They're super dead, and I don't care. I'm going to worry about this thing.
Because this is the focus of this episode. Yeah. Boy. All right, Drew. I think we're ragging real hard on this. So what did you... If you were to rate this, what would you give this episode?
Just the episode... Ooh, 2 broomsticks.
Jeez.
It cut way too much. It tried to build so many things, and the little things that bothered me throughout this entire show about cutting just when a scene starts to get interesting or whatever, like, it was just like, it came to a head here where like every time a scene, like, you let a scene fucking breathe.
Yeah. Like, let it do its thing. Let it find its thing. Like,
yeah, there were so many...
Don't know what to do.
So many intercutting things, which is like... It's almost fucking dizzying to, like...
Yeah.
To handle. Like, no scene got enough time to be like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
How about you? How would you rate this one episode?
I'm actually gonna give it... I'm gonna give it three and a bit broomsticks. Maybe 3.5, just 3 and a bit. Because there were some redeemable good things in here. Like, Aunt Z, just the entirety of this episode, yes. Aunt Hilda, the entirety of this episode, just yes. There were cool effects in here. There were some real good speeches and real good like things dropped in this episode. But it does lose major points on a lot of things. Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna go at.
That's entirely fair. And I say that like last episode, I gave it a rating more on how I felt the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
This time I can't because I remember even watching it the first time. This ending feels slightly rushed.
yeah, yeah. They're trying to
And
hammer too much in one place,
yeah,
and it's
and it's not that it wasn't enjoyable because again, when I binged this series, I didn't ever regret hitting like play next. It was only the second viewing where I started to like it felt like a chore to watch that episode.
yeah. Like we had 2 weeks off for various reasons, and yeah, it felt like I left it till pretty late today to watch this episode. I'm like, I don't think I want to watch this.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to watch Lost in Space, but it didn't. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like this, I genuinely just didn't want to watch. I knew we'd have so much to talk about Lost in Space. Like we could love hating that show. I
yeah.
don't love hating this show. I just like this could be better, and I think that's what really
You know,
hurts me.
I feel like this show works great as binging, not because the story lines up or anything, but like when you take it all in at once, you don't notice the little things. It's the waiting
Yeah.
a week between episodes where you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
If this were on TV, I don't think it would last, and not because of like Susie or anything like that. I just don't think it would last because a week in between episodes for the show, it really loses its polish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those things that's good to have in the background while you're doing something else.
Yeah, and
Like this is that kind of show, and which is sad because it could be so much more, and it's not, and it's yeah,
now
sad.
maybe season 2 will fucking surprise us if we go back and watch it.
If
I
we
will not
can,
watch season 2 right now.
I can't watch these. I don't even know if I want to watch the Christmas episode next week. I don't know if I can deal with that.
Oh, that's right.
We'll have to
Oh,
talk about that off air. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what we're doing next week.
maybe we take a break.
After this episode.
Maybe we take a break before we're doing the Christmas episode.
Maybe we should watch
Oh,
a film and then watch the Christmas episode and then move on to the next series.
palate cleanser. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we'll talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it off there. That'd be great.
Or
So-
I'll just randomly announce what we're gonna do, and that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. What about what about the series, Drew? Would you
Okay.
recommend this to other people?
That's a tough one, and I say that because, like I said, when I binged it the first time, I enjoyed it. I was along for the ride. I bought into their, I suspended my disbelief, and I was there. So yeah, I'd probably recommend it, but like I would tell people that like there's minor problems with it. Like you're gonna have some issues. And I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to be rooting for Sabrina at all ever. But overall, I'd say it's not the worst. I enjoyed it the first time. Like otherwise like I would have stopped binging and be like, Valanda, what have you done to me?
I knew this would be interesting to talk about.
Now, Telemachus says no Christmas episode. Save it before season 2. And I kind of like that idea.
Okay, all right, I'm in.
Yeah,
Maybe because I don't have to watch it
right. Like, whew.
for a little while.
Oh, we'll come back to that. But important thing here, Valanda, how would you rate this season, or the show as a whole so far? I guess.
I think I would recommend it, but with caveats of like, yeah, this isn't perfect TV, but if you want something on in the background and you don't want to pay too much attention, you'll get your eyes drawn to it on odd little things. But yeah, there are things that are going to piss you off about it. I don't know what it is that's going to piss you off about it, but you will come across something.
It's gonna be there.
It's going to be there. I'd watch it because it has some interesting things, and I'm hoping it's going to be good in the future. I'm hoping. But just give it a go. See what happens. Because there are things that are good in this series. The
Definitely.
aunts, Ambrose, almost all the side characters.
This show is definitely like dishwashing TV, where it's like you don't
Yeah.
really need to pay attention, but like occasionally you're like,
Yeah.
wait, ooh.
Like, wait a minute, I need to scroll back. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely binge the whole thing at once if you can. Like, I would highly recommend that.
Yeah. So how would you rate the whole show? Like, how many broomsticks would you give the show?
I'm gonna say 6. I think it's I think 6 because they let down too much, but they have good potential. And like, yeah, it's shite. It's not great. It's not shite.
Eh,
What about you, Drew? What will you give it a scale of 1 to 10?
Ooh, 1 to 10. 5.5. There's problems. Nothing like it's so middle of the road. Honestly, like all the problems don't destroy the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's also in the end, like I said, it's TV. It's TV. Like for washing dishes. Like you don't really need to focus because when you focus, that's when you're like, ew.
Like, ew. Like looking at it too closely, like, yeah, all right, actually.
It's like one of those.
Watch on VHS, yeah.
It's like one of those like pictures where you're like, you look at it and everything seems fine, but the longer you look at it, the more you notice like the weird stuff going on in the picture.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? Oh, honestly, this was not as long as I thought it was gonna be. I thought we were gonna have way more stuff to say about this episode.
I think we ragged on it pretty hard.
I think we did. I think we kind of just like destroyed it.
Yeah, I think we did. I think I hate it more now than I did when I watched the episode.
Oh.
Yeah, we ragged on this pretty hard, and we've ragged on most of the themes as they came up and went through. So I think we got a lot of our system already.
I think so. Would you like to see something terrifying?
It depends. Go for it.
It's gonna be on the video. Hold on. This is I discovered this the other day, and it's the worst. Okay, hold on. Everyone, hold on. I have to put something up over the thing so you can.
Are you about to do a screen share of weirdness?
No, I'm gonna put something over the outgoing thing so I can set it up properly, and then I'm gonna take the thing down. So you're just gonna see the timer video for a minute. Don't worry about it. I'll be right back.
We're still gonna be here. Are we still gonna get hurt?
Yeah, I'll leave the.
Yeah, that was Oh my god, Drew! What the hell was that? What on earth?
Hi everyone. I've become an alien.
That's the best thing. My god, Drew.
I like that my eyes are specifically dark enough to like get the background.
So good. So good.
Okay. I discovered that the other day. Anyway.
Hang around with random effects on OBS.
Yeah, it won't make any sense on the podcast, but it's fine. Everyone who watches the video that's a special treat for you guys.
Just for you. Bearing with us on our somewhat interrupted Sabrina the Chilling Adventures thereof.
Yes. Okay, so if we're gonna save the Christmas episode, let's go ahead. Let's dive into what we're gonna do next. Like, I know we're gonna do a movie, and then we're gonna go to the next season.
Yes.
So let's give the people something to look forward to, Valanda. What movie are we gonna watch?
Are we watching Hocus Pocus?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We're gonna watch.
Discussion as whether we were going to watch this or Dead and Loving It, and eventually Hocus Pocus won out because I love that movie.
It's so good. I can't wait.
I haven't watched it so long.
It's my favorite. I can't wait to watch Hocus Pocus with you and talk about how you do a which movie correctly.
Yes, because damn, it's a good movie. And what season are we moving to on after this?
All right, so after this, we're gonna watch Castlevania, the Netflix animated Castlevania, and because the episodes are 30 minutes apiece, we're probably gonna do 2 episodes per stream. And I don't know. I mean, they're really short. We may just do seasons 1 and 2 like back to back because.
It's only when I was staying at my friend's the other week, or the other month, we kind of accidentally watched all of season 1 in less than a few hours.
Yeah, it's like 5 episodes and they're 30 minutes apiece.
Yeah, it's super quick to get through them. So yeah, maybe we'll watch it and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out exactly how we're gonna do this. But yeah, Castlevania is up next, but we're gonna watch Hocus Pocus. It's so
Hocus
exciting.
Pocus will be next Sunday.
Yep.
And then Castlevania. Honestly, we might have to watch both seasons just so we have enough time to figure out what movie to watch.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a slight thing. Our time zone is going to be changing. Our time slot is going to be changing in a couple of weeks because I have to reorganize some life things to make this happen. So we're going to be changing, but that'll be probably after we do Hocus Pocus. So just a heads up. There you go.
Yeah, this time it's not my fault, everyone. This time it's Valanda.
Yeah, this is all based on me. TLD needs to take precedence on recording on a Sunday night, so we're just going to pick another date and we'll
Oh,
go from
your highly successful podcast, TLD.
Oh,
I'm
that
so. I just want to give you shit for it, but like, I can't.
You can't.
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
You're doing a great job, Valanda.
Thank you. So yeah, I guess talking of that, we should probably do outros, huh?
I guess we kind of hit the end.
Yeah, I think we've hit the end. I think we've rambled quite well.
Quite well. Well, you always start the outro, so go for it.
Yeah, apparently. So hi, I'm Volley Volanda. You can find me on Twitter at Volley_Londa. You can find my podcast, The Lucky Die. Oh, sorry, our podcast, The Lucky Die, coming out tomorrow. All I can say is I want to thank the huge array of voiceover people on tomorrow's episode, which comes out on April 1st. I'm going to preface it with that and say no more. It's super good. Please go listen. It's amazing. Other than that, White Vault is finished. I don't think I'm appearing in any other podcasts for a little bit. Oh, Dark Dice is coming out in either this week or next week.
Oh, yeah,
so.
it's April. It's time for the next episode.
Oh god, my heart hurts so much with Dark Dice. Anyway, Drew.
I'm Drew Tillman, and you can find me on Twitter at cyber_Sasquatch. You can find me here most Sundays. Occasionally it doesn't happen. Well, you'll find me on Couch for It most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time. Taking Initiative currently on a bit of a hiatus while we after we wrapped up Curse of Strahd, and we're getting ready to go into Storm King's Thunder. I want to say June. It's a J month. That's all I know. It's not January.
It's either June or July, one of those two.
It's one of those two. I'm sorry. I just it's not a fact that's stuck in my brain, unfortunately. But yeah. Taking Initiative is going to come out with Storm King's Thunder, where it's going to be a whole new cast of characters, and I get to play another lovable dumbass.
Another wonderful new character.
Yes. Let's see how long this one lives.
I think at least 3 episodes.
Other than that, I have nothing else to plug right now, but maybe in the future that'll change. Anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you very much, guys. We
We'll
appreciate everything. And tell Makers you're a genius, we will do that.
Yes, that was the greatest suggestion.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We really do. And we'll see all of you very soon. Bye!
Bye!